Stealing from innocent people in the digital world doesn't make you a hacker. The media has always misrepresented the term hacker. Journalists often overlook the talent and digital artistry, focusing instead on the dark side of the cyber world. Take Albert Gonzalez as an example. He was a career thief who used mostly beginner methods like SQL injection, weak Wi-Fi configurations, and network sniffers to steal and resell people's card data on a massive scale. He exposed 170 million credit card details to fraudsters, causing damage close to $400 million. And he's now serving 20 years in jail. But sadly, the media framed him as a mastermind. Even if you Google his name, you can see he has been called like hacker of the century or greatest cybercriminal in history, ironically. Which is obvious that motives gibberished from ignorative media plague. There's no bright future in stealing from people and causing damage online. Sooner or later, these so-called hackers will face jail time and their lives will be ruined. In this episode, I'll tell you the story of virus Selim, who turned out to be a fallen hero, and another case like Albert Gonzalez. This is Marcus Frex, and welcome to Switchborn. It was the early 1990s. Having a computer at home was a luxury. Back then, a known computer guy was handling everything related to computers and operating systems, mostly just MS-DOS. It wasn't like today, with a wide spectrum of expertise. Tons of developer skills, networking, protocols, application servers, databases, operating systems, and more. After my first encounter with a computer, a Commodore 64, my uncle bought a brand new Acer desktop with an 8086 processor and 640 kilobytes of memory. He got it because he worked at the central bank and was ordered to learn computers. No one else seemed capable of handling one. But he couldn't spend much time with that Acer, because I fell in love with it. Whenever he tried to use it, I was already there writing QBasic code, exploring MS-DOS modules, or figuring out something new. I started to spend more time with the computer than anything else. So when I was fallen into that venom, my cousin was telling me about a guy named Selim, whom everyone called Virus Selim. I never met him back then, but I grew up on his stories. He so-called used multiple computers at once, imported 128 megabyte hard drives from Europe, cracked applications to turn trials into full, unlimited versions, and made tons of money. He was super smart, and even bought a house and a new car with his earnings. I always felt deep envy and wonder on his stories. Years passed. I grew up, went to university, founded my own cybersecurity company, and started working with the richest and most secure banks in Istanbul. I was living alone in Kadıköy, focused on international banking, and still working day and night. It was 2015. My cousin called and said virus Selim was in Kadıköy looking for a place to stay for the night. I was amazed at the opportunity and jumped on it. After all, he was a childhood legend I'd never met, but whose stories I cherished. We met at a coffee shop. He was in his 40s, extremely skinny, and looked tired. At first, we didn't talk about computers. He didn't seem interested in talking on IT stuff. He said he was returning to Istanbul from the United States and planned to go abroad again soon. He needed a place to stay temporarily. I offered my place without asking for details. He mostly talked about nightlife, the benefits of living abroad, and money. When he asked about my business, I kept it humble and short. He accepted my offer, and we went back to my place. He put his backpack in the guest room and suggested we go out for beers and enjoy Kadıköy's nightlife. I was up for it, so we dove into the evening. He continuously talked about girls, Las Vegas, his life quality, and money. I thought he was keeping himself away from his expertise intentionally so that he can take his mind out for a calm state, and I respected it. We got back around 1 or 2 a.m., finishing our last beers before bed. He was tipsy, but trying to act in control. After some chit-chat, he said he was impressed by my courage in hosting him. I asked why. Was there something to fear? That was the moment my image of him began to crumble. I'd heard valorous stories from my cousin and his friends, but I realized they had built up someone who wasn't real. He started talking about the credit card business. At first, I thought he meant protecting people from theft. But no, this guy was stealing credit card details through a network of bartenders and selling them on the black market. I expected stories of 0 days, high-tech innovations, and genius cybersecurity methods I'd never heard of. But nothing like that. Within minutes, I learned he was fleeing the FBI. He bragged about buying forged passports, traveling internationally, and heading to North Cyprus for a deal. He even mentioned a buried purse in Canada. I was stunned. As someone working with respected banks, if this scumbag got caught at my place, how could I explain to the cops that I'd just met him that day? My job involved hacking banks ethically. Having a credit card thief in my home would destroy my career and reputation. My first instinct was to kick him out, but I hid my feelings. I couldn't sleep all night. I even considered going to the police, but worried about being misunderstood and ending up in interrogation, then on a suspect list. When morning came and the sun was rising, I prepared breakfast. making noise to wake him early. I wanted to feed him and get him out. I called my cousin from the back balcony, cursed him for putting me in danger without realizing it, and told him to call back soon, pretending my grandfather had passed away. When Selim woke, I kept a neutral face and invited him to breakfast. Though he wanted to sleep more, I insisted on the omelette I'd made. Soon, my cousin called, and you can imagine the rest. By 8 or 9 in the morning, I had his baggage outside, called a taxi, and excused myself to prepare for the funeral. That was the last time I saw him. I never asked about him again, or told anyone until now. I wasn't even searched his name online, so I don't know what happened to him, but I don't care. He's most probably in jail. In this story, my cousin and his friends were like the media, and I was the vulnerable one. Those stories always reminds me a quote on the movie, Scent of a Woman. At the final scene of the movie, Al Pacino, portraying Colonel Frank Slade, was saying to a jury explaining his life choices.
Now I have come to the crossroads in my life. I always knew what the right path was. Without exception, I knew, but I never took it. You know why? It was too damn hard.
Stealing from people and making easy money is not as hard as you think, and it does not require any genius. But it becomes a burden and eats you from inside out, until everything gets more harder than you can think of. There is no shortcut home. Understand it and choose the hard path. You will eventually see that more you go along the hard way, better and greater you become. And Switchborn will guide you through the depths of miracles and wonders you have always been dreaming of. It is awakening of the tormented soul. It has been told as yesterday's story, but you will realize that it is singularity's inevitable rays, with another chain of evolution.